Straight ahead on 12 News Weekend, a glimpse into the future. We'll show you the plans for a destination library in Brooklyn Park. Then, turning flowers into art.
This is actually really fun to do because it's really, really big and splashy.
Meet the Golden Valley man whose ideas blossom with creativity. But first, anxious to grill outdoors? Why those juicy burgers will be more costly. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello everyone, barbecue season is right around the corner, but brace yourselves, you might be in for a surprise at the meat counter.
Beef prices are at an all-time high due to droughts in other parts of the country that have shrunk cattle herds. It all means many consumers will start seeing those price increases at grocery stores and restaurants.
Cheeseburger and a malt? Okay, $7.38.
During the lunch hour rush, sometimes there's nothing more satisfying than a cheeseburger.
The service is good. We can just call and come in and get good food.
Burgers have been Wagner's specialty for the better part of 4 decades.
$5.45.
But Jim Wagner also has to deal with the trials and tribulations of owning a small business.
It ain't getting any cheaper. Oil's not getting cheaper. Gas is not getting cheaper.
Neither is the price of beef. In January, he paid about $2.40 a pound for hamburger meat. Now he says he pays about $1 more.
It's hard. You got to get creative in your old age.
Yet sometimes creativity isn't enough. This summer, the consumer will have to take a hit.
I will have to jump my prices dramatically. I will have to add on a minimum 40 cents to or higher.
Oh, $26.48 today.
Such is life in the business of beef.
We try to establish some kind of a percentage in the middle.
It's something Dick Welk from Osseo Meat Market and Deli knows all too well.
There's been as high as, I've seen them in my time and stuff, and I've been in the meat business for almost 40 years owning the meat market.
At this meat market, they pride themselves on customer service.
Quality's great, and people that work here really know what they're selling, so it really helps.
Something else that helps is that the meat prices don't fluctuate, despite the skyrocketing cost of beef.
I'd rather ride the storm out and be faithful to my customers than raise it up and lower it.
As for how long that storm lasts, it remains to be seen.
I would say we're looking at another tough year and a half.
Well, beef isn't the only meat going up in price. The U.S. Department of Agriculture reports pork prices are up 9% from last year.
Get a call from the IRS telling you to pay up? It's likely a scam. Brooklyn Park police say several residents were almost victims of a scam that requires people to purchase prepaid debit cards. Scammers order victims to call back with the serial number on the card. Unfortunately, one person did fall for the trap.
He lost over $1,000.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah. And then I'm not sure.
The IRS won't ask for payment using a prepaid debit card or wire transfer. The IRS won't ask for a credit card number over the phone either.
The Maple Grove City Council will vote Monday on the appointment of a new police chief. Eric Werner has been the police chief of Rosemount since the fall of 2012. He also spent 13 years with the Burnsville Police Department. City officials say Werner is highly respected in the law enforcement community. In Golden Valley, the city is saying goodbye to its longtime fire chief. Mark Coonley has been Golden Valley's fire chief for 24 years. He spent 40 years total in fire service. Coonley says retiring is bittersweet, but he is looking forward to the days when he doesn't have to wear a pager.
It'll be the first time in 40 years that I haven't been on call essentially 24/7. And I'm in hopes of doing some traveling, spending time with the family.
Deputy Chief John Crelly will replace Coonley. Crelly has been a Golden Valley firefighter for more than 30 years. Last year, he was promoted to Deputy Chief.
In our week in review, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of a Brooklyn Park fitness company involved in a legal fee dispute. It's a decision that legal experts say could deter frivolous patent lawsuits. Another company had also sued Octane Fitness for infringing on a patent for an elliptical trainer. That suit was dismissed, but Octane spent nearly $2 million defending itself. The Supreme Court ruled that Octane could collect legal fees from Icon, one of the country's major makers of exercise equipment. Octane Fitness has been dealing with the suit for 5 years. Brooklyn Park has decided on a location for a youth homeless shelter. The city's Economic Development authorities approved of building a shelter on city-owned land on 76th Avenue near West Broadway. The EDA approved up to $950,000 for the project. The facility would provide shelter for 10 to 12 kids, and the goal is to have it open before the end of the year. And MnDOT says it now has the money to ease traffic congestion on a section of Interstate 494. MnDOT will build a third general purpose lane from Highway 55 to Highway 94 with money it saved on 2 major bridge projects. The city of Plymouth has spent 15 years fighting for that third lane. Mayor Kelly Slavic says it will help hundreds of new workers moving to Plymouth actually get to their jobs. Think back to 1976 and think about how much it's changed.
That's the year Brooklyn Park built its library, and since then the community has not only grown in size, but also in diversity. Now, after years of discussion and community input, Brooklyn Park is closer than ever to getting a new library. Here is Alexandra Renslow.
On the site of the current Brooklyn Park Library, a community gathers to get a glimpse of its future library.
This will be a 21st century library.
It's been years in the making to get to this point. Design plans are now ready for the more than $20 million facility that will be built on 6 acres of land along 85th Avenue across from North Hennepin Community College.
It's been a great process. We started with a task force that was selected by Hennepin County and included members from the community. They set a big vision for us that was world geography, technology, engineering, the STEAM program, and really made us think big.
The new library will reflect those community-desired themes in a space that will be nearly 3 times the size of the current library.
We are a little tight on space for the number of people that use the library. We have K-12 homework help 4 days a week and adult homework help 1 day a week.
The new library will have designated spaces for the community to gather, including a digital media lab for teens and an early literacy area for kids under age 6. Officials are still looking for more input from residents.
We're inviting community members to step forward and help plan what happens in the new library.
Among those residents gathered this week, early reviews are favorable.
It reminds me somewhat of the Maple Grove Library, which is a beautiful facility, and I was hoping we would get something just as nice here, and now we are.
Well, the new Brooklyn Park Library will open in 2016. Well, coming up on 12 News Weekend, a Golden Valley man's passion blooms in Minneapolis.
We'll take you to one of the most colorful events of the year up next. And then later in sports, Providence and Breck are among the schools that will compete in a new conference coming in the fall. We'll have all the details.
But first, no major warm fronts in sight, though we could see 60 on Monday and possibly 70s later in the week. Welcome back. If all the April showers have you dreaming of May flowers, we've got a story for you.
There's a place you can go to see flowers as art, and a Golden Valley man is one of the artists. We got a chance to watch Frank Bohlander create his own artwork. It's like a chaotic spring storm
It's just an adventure.
that blows up every year
We never know what it's going to be like.
outside the Minneapolis Institute of Arts.
There's several tours coming in.
And it predictably comes before the debut of one of the most popular exhibits.
The lobby is filled with people. It's just kind of an exciting place to be right now.
With care and precision,
We're up on the other side.
artists navigate the crowd
We have to figure out how to get up the stairs.
with their masterpieces.
I'm just going to wait for them to bring everything in.
For Frank Bohlander,
I can do that because I'm the boss.
it's passion, not pressure, behind his creation for art in bloom.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time to put all of this together. So for me, it's one of the really special things that happens in the Twin Cities every year.
And every year for the last 8 years at his Golden Valley floral shop.
You look at the flower will tell you where it goes in the arrangement.
Frank begins with an idea.
I'm just gonna start. There's nothing else I can do. I don't tie myself to too many specifics.
This year, the theme is green.
I see a blank space and my brain fills it in.
But it's not quite an open canvas.
Anything that we bring in doesn't give off, shed pollen.
No pollen, no fruit, no feathers.
Everything that goes in needs to be fresh.
Nothing that might damage the art.
My goal is to completely hide all my mechanics.
Plus, these flowers need to last nearly a week.
I'm always conscious of not necessarily what it's going to look like today, but what it's going to look like by Sunday afternoon.
For a floral designer who is every inch the artist,
I'm a painter with flowers.
hours of donated time and flowers
We have to try and guess where everything goes.
all come together here
Fill in the holes so that everything is perfect.
as art that complements art itself.
It's just a burst of spring in a beautiful setting.
And absolutely perfect. Art in Bloom runs through Sunday at the Minneapolis Institute of Arts. The event is free, and you can see Frank's exhibit in the pop-up gift shop. And you can say they're big and showy. Some of those blossoms on there, $80 a stem.
Wow.
And all donated there, so.
That's amazing. What a beautiful set, too, that he put together. Amazing.
I know, he did a great job.
Yeah.
Very passionate there. Speaking of color, later in the show, we are in the garden with tips to pick out the perfect hanging basket.
But first, Maple Grove's softball team is doing well this spring. That's when they can get outside to play. Jay Wilcox has their story next in sports. Welcome back. Jay Wilcox joins us now at sports, and sports and weather very closely aligned this week.
The seasons have been interrupted. There's no doubt about it. They kind of got off to an okay start, but then put on hold this week for the most part. Maple Grove softball team placed 4th in the state last season. They are off to a great start this spring, but they've had to practice patience this week. It's a showdown put on hold. Maple Grove was supposed to play defending state champion Elk River today in a key matchup, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, we were really hoping for it. We just postponed it till next week, so we're still really looking forward to it, working hard so we can get playing them. So it'll be a big game. We're ready.
The fields, they're just soft. I mean, our field's actually draining pretty well. We've been out there, but it would just be too soft and too tough to get ready.
The Crimson expect to be indoors when practices first start. But once they've played a bunch of games outdoors, coming back to the gym is a tough sell. But when your field looks like this, there's little choice.
Because since we had our trip in Florida and everything, we've been outside more than we were expecting. And so in here, you just kind of get a little more bored. But I mean, it's still good work because we're still very consistent when we're hitting, but just a little different.
When they have played it, so far so good. Maple Grove is 5-0 with 4 shutouts and only 1 run allowed.
They've stepped up to the challenge of what we want to be, and they're playing well. We're 5-0 to start the year, and our hitting's been a little bit better than we kind of anticipated, and some kids are starting to find their rhythm a little bit, and we'll keep moving forward from there.
We've all been playing together for a long time, so that really helps. I think we'll keep it going, so we'll see where we go.
They'll wait a couple of weeks to face Elk River. Maple Grove hopes to keep on swinging when the weather clears. Maple Grove's game against Elk River has been rescheduled for May 15th. They did get a win over Centennial in Thursday to move to 6-0. Well, 6 teams in the brand new Independent Metro Athletic Conference begin play in the fall, including Breck and Providence Academy from our area. John Jacobson talked with Providence Activities Director Kurt Jaeger about the new league.
Well, we're excited about the new IMAC conference, which will begin play the fall 2014. We had a situation this fall where 6 members of the Tri-Metro ended up withdrawing, and have subsequently formed a conference together. And we're excited about the opportunity to partner with some like schools in terms of our academic day and our commitment to being prep schools and what that might mean for how we operate our athletic programs in the evening.
The Tri-Metro had grown quite large. Wasn't that part of the issue for a lot of the schools, not only for Providence, but for the schools that withdrew? You were up to, 16 teams?
That's right. With the addition of 3 new schools and the Tri-Metro going to 16 conference schools, it became apparent to all of us that in a number of sports you couldn't even play a single round and play everybody once in a conference. And we just felt that those numbers, along with the discrepancies in enrollments and sizes of the schools, it was just time for us to seek independence first, and then ultimately the 6 schools that withdrew came together. All of the 6 schools that withdrew, Blake, Breck, Providence, Minnehaha Academy, St. Paul Academy, and Mounts Park are all independent schools. We're all also our college preparatory schools. So we have a very similar focus in terms of the day school and how we're going to operate and the value we're going to place on that.
Final question about the new conference. Are you excited about building new rivalries, even though you've been in with these teams before, but now getting a chance to see many of them maybe twice a year?
Yeah, I think that there's some natural rivalries there already because of the schools and their missions, but the opportunity to play twice, the opportunity to be playing schools that should be competitive matchups in terms of our size and just where we've kind of been traditionally in the last maybe decade, should hopefully increase fan interest in games and provide some really fun rivalries moving forward.
Thanks, John and Kurt. And with that switch, Brooklyn Center will be the lone remaining school from the area still in the Tri-Metro Conference after this spring. So lots of shuffling going on. Virtually all of our schools are being affected in some way by these conference changes.
It'll be interesting to see in the fall when it all starts.
Yeah, 6-team league is small, but teams that want to work together.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks.
No doubt people are anxious to get out in the garden right now.
We're anxious too. Up next, we'll have tips on making your own hanging flower baskets. After 6 days of rain, this weekend is the perfect time to do some gardening.
You might have to wait to plant those flowers, but you can get a jump on hanging baskets and planters. Reporter Sonia Goins goes in the garden with Malmborgs.
If you keep them watered and fertilized, they'll do well all summer long for you.
It looks
This is a sun impatient.
and sounds like spring inside Malmberg's Garden Center.
It can go out in the sun.
Rows and rows of colorful hanging basket line the aisles.
There are some things you can put out now. Pansies, violas, snapdragons, alyssum, petunias.
If you want a taste of the tropics,
hibiscus, right here.
You can hang one of these.
Dipladenias, another one of the tropicals.
But Malmberg's is known for their great-looking geraniums.
These are our pillar geraniums.
You can't put them outside right now.
You definitely don't want them outside right now.
But you can keep them inside until it warms up.
They're trained up this post all winter long.
Hanging baskets are nice if you don't have the space.
All the hanging baskets are fairly easy to take care of.
They're also pretty low maintenance.
What I'd recommend is keeping them watered when they need it and fertilized from time to time.
If you don't want to spend the money on pre-made baskets, you can make one yourself.
This is not as hard as everybody thinks it is.
Gardening expert Van Cooley shows us how.
And I'll just start to plant. I'm putting all of these around the outside. Okay. I'm putting every other one, a geranium, then a bacopa, a geranium and a bacopa and a geranium. I always like to leave just a little bit of room in the top of the pot once I get done to hold water. Now I'm going to add my soil back in to fill some of the spots where some of the plants have grown to, will be growing together later on. So we would put a hanger on that, we'd hang that up, and through the magic of television, you go from this to something like this.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Van says the key, of course, is to use a slow-release fertilizer, and that will keep your plants happy and healthy without much fuss. So that tells us we're getting closer to summer.
I'm really looking forward to seeing some hanging flowers. I'm so tired of seeing these trees with no leaves on them and gloominess. Flowers, please come.
I know, we'll promote it. That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
See you Monday at 4. Thanks a lot.